Meet Ebo Noah. And who is he exactly? Well, he said it is flooding on December 25th. And not only do some people believe him, 300,000 people in Ghana are following this man saying, oh yeah, rapture, that shit happened on Christmas Day, son. It's flooding. As to like real arcs. Like, hey, this is going to withstand the flood. And I'm just sitting there like, you know what? I'm going to let you rock, gang. But at the same time, 300,000 y'all believe this man? Ebo here in the Cut Life Pride side? Yeah, not going to be me, big dog. No, sir. I've heard the rapture happen mad times. But I also heard God doesn't let nobody know when the rapture happening. And then you said he came to you in your dream. He said, man, it's flooding on the 25th. I'm like, yo, why God ain't tell nobody else? He just told you, Ebo. That don't seem fair to me. But as you can see, he getting donations, son, building arts. So if it do happen, like, and it's gonna be good. But it's like 300,000 y'all. Not everybody can make it on the ark. And so what happens when it doesn't happen and y'all all chilling there waiting for the flood? Everybody looking at each other. Do y'all get mad at Ebo and be like, what the? You know what fucked up shit I just said to some people? I quit my job, nigga. It ain't even fucking rain. It's sunny out. Because, bro, know the flood is coming on the 25th. But he's like, you know what? Hold on. That 2025 Benz, though, I'm going to need that. God bless you with different type of waves. I immediately go, well, hold on. Wait, is the Benz coming on the ark with us? I thought all this shit was flooding, bro. What the fuck you mean? You got a Benz. 2025, too? I started scrolling through Buddy Seal a little bit more, and he's very big on donate. He be telling people donate all the time. It's crazy. He be wearing this bag around all the time, but be climbing out of 2025 Benzes. Like, he wore that into the Benz. So it's like, oh, man, I got some questions, Ebo. I ain't gonna lie to you. Because if it don't happen, I'm gonna need all them donations back for sure. Like, hold on, son. I was supposed to make it on the ark. This shit not even necessary. I'm gonna need that bread back. I don't think Ebo gonna give it back. But God forbid Ebo right. Ooh, that boy about to be moving, grooving, vibing, sliding into the afterlife and the next world as the leader in V1. But I don't think that shit gonna happen. I'm gonna see y'all tomorrow for Christmas.
The flood predicted by Ebo Noah did not come as expected, which angered the thousands of believers who had gathered there to await its arrival. Ebo Noah had claimed that God warned him of a global flood and said only those who joined him would be saved. In preparation, he announced that he had built 8 large wooden arks. His message spread quickly online, and an estimated 280,000 people traveled to stay near him, seeking protection. Many followers also donated large sums of money to support the project. When December 25 passed, with no signs of flooding, frustration and panic grew among the crowd. Some followers began questioning where their money had gone after reports surfaced that Ebo Noah had used donations to purchase luxury items, including a Mercedes-Benz. As tensions rose, a group of angry followers surrounded Ebo Noah. Witnesses say the situation became chaotic before local authorities intervened. Police later took Ebo Noah into custody for his own safety and to prevent further escalation. Authorities have now launched an investigation into possible fraud and misuse of donations. Many former supporters say they feel deceived and are demanding answers, refunds, and legal action. Should Ebo Noah be held fully accountable for what happened, or should followers share responsibility for believing him in the first place? What do you think?
All right, Shalom. I want to start off by giving our praise, honor, and glory due to Yahweh, Baha Hashem, Yahweh Shai, Baha Hashem, Rakha Kodash. I'd like to give double honors unto the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone, who I learned this truth from. And I'd like to say peace and salutations unto the hopefully elect. And today, this is going to be a lesson about this guy over there in Africa. He calls himself Ebo Noah, and he's another false prophet, that claims the Lord spoke to him. And, he claims the Lord told him to build, 8 arks because, the world was going to flood yesterday, December 25th. And clearly that didn't happen. Why? Because a flood already took place, and another flood is never going to take place again. A flood of water anyway, because that was already established during the time of the Noah, So I'm just going to bring out a few scriptures. Lord willing, this lesson is edifying. So I'm going to start with the book of Genesis chapter 9. I'm going to start at verse 11. It says, and I will establish my covenant with you. Neither shall all flesh be cut off any more by the waters of a flood, neither shall there any more be a flood to destroy the earth. So, right, I could just stop right there with that alone. Just verse 11 alone, because it clearly says that the Lord will not destroy the earth by way of a flood of water, you know. So anybody claiming that, you know, the world is going to be flooded is wrong, you know, and then anyone else that actually believes that person is just simple, you know, because every nation has an account of the flood that took place, but, you know, it's never going to happen again, man. Verse 12, it says, and Yahweh said, this is the token of the covenant which I make between me and you and every living creature that is with you for perpetual generations. Slakia. It says, I do set my bow in the cloud, and it shall be for a token of a covenant between me and the earth. Right. What was that covenant? The rainbow. You know, that was the covenant that the Lord made with Noah, you know, and all the animals that were alive, you know, with him, you know, that he wouldn't destroy the earth again by way of the flood, you know, by way of water, you know. Verse 14, and it shall come to pass when I bring a cloud over the earth, that the bow shall be seen in the cloud. And I will remember my covenant, which is between me and you and every living creature of all flesh, and the waters shall no more become a flood to destroy all flesh. Now I read verse 16. That'll be it for this one. It says, and the bow shall be in the cloud, and I will look upon it, that I may remember the everlasting covenant between Yahweh and every living creature of all flesh that is upon the earth. And right, you know, so that guy's wrong, man. And again, even though we know that it clearly says that, you know, the deceived and the deceiver are his, you know, like these people are really simple to believe that, you know, he is a man of the Lord, you know. And you see, you know, he's walking around with no shoes and he got sackcloth on. But what? He's hopping out of a, you know, a brand new 2025 Benz, you know, from the donations that he's been getting from the people that been following him, you know. And then I featured the clip, you know, of the aftermath, you know. So the people were angry at him. I don't know. I'm not sure if that first part was him, you know, tied up being whipped, or unless that was just a random part they threw in there. But either way, you know, people are upset that, you know, they gave this man their money and what he said was going to happen didn't happen. Just like all of these people. Excuse me, Slakia. Just like in, when was it, September? You know, all of these people that, you know, sold their items and quit their jobs, you know, gave away all their belongings because they believed that they were going to be raptured out of here. Just for what? Nothing to happen. You know, that just goes to show you how bugged out these people are, man. And that they don't have the truth. You know, now that guy could have been, you know, an Israelite that just looks like a Hamite, or he could, you know, just be straight Ham, you know. But either way, man, you know, it's not right to deceive people, man, because in these last days, we don't care about the heathens, but, you know, in these last days, people are looking for answers, man. You know, they're looking for the truth. And you have a lot of false prophets. There are more false prophets than there are true prophets, you know, and we're seeing it. So Slakia. Again, let me get Matthew chapter 7 and verse 15. It says, "Beware of false prophets, which come to you in sheep's clothing, but inwardly they are ravening wolves." And right, this man, gave off the appearance that, he's humble, he's lowly, he's meek. But what he used, the donations from, the people that were giving him money to buy a new car, Meanwhile, still jumping out of the car with sackcloth on, man. These people are crazy for following this, man, So let me also grab this. Matthew chapter 15 and verse 14, and it says, "Let them alone. They be blind leaders of the blind, and if the blind lead the blind, both shall fall into the ditch." And right, man, the blind leading the blind. We clearly see this, man. Dude was nothing more than, he's a false prophet, man. He just finessed. I think they said it was about, 300,000 people or something like that. But either way, it was a great number of people. Were angry. And, you different leaders of you different Israelite leaders, man, of these different camps that are deceiving or misleading your congregation, you should look at this and, be worried. Because at the end of the day, man, people are going to be angry once they found out that you lied to them or you deceived them. They're going to want blood at that point, because, they've been deceived, but either way it goes, man, it's all in the Lord's hand, so let's grab that since I quoted it. It's the book of Job, chapter 12 and verse 16. It says, "With him is strength and wisdom. The deceived and deceiver are his." And right, man, all of those people, just like it says, I'm just going to quote it, it says it's a fearful thing, to fall into the hands of the Lord, man. So the Lord wanted that man to deceive all of those people, and they fell for it. And frankly, they're upset, as they should be, but they said this man was arrested. But we'll see what happens to him, man, because he's not the first and he's not going to be the last guy before all hell breaks loose to deceive a great number of people, man, because we still see that taking place, like with these pastors in these churches, finessing the people out of their money, and even these different, Israelite camp leaders, teaching false doctrine, making merchandise of their congregation, these different things, man. It's a lot of deception still going on, but just like it says, if it were at all possible, let me just grab it. It's like here. Yep. I'm going to end it with this. This is the book of Matthew, chapter 24, verse 24. It says, "For there shall arise false Christs and false prophets, and shall show great signs and wonders, and so much that, if it were possible, they shall deceive the very elect." So, right, these various deceptions that are going on out here, the elect, they're not going to fall for it. Unlike the rest of these people, they're just going to fall for the okie doke, So whatever, particular deception is going out there, the elect, they're not going to be deceived by it, man. Because it was always meant for them to, not be deceived, So, Lord willing, this lesson was edifying. I want to give all praise, honor, and glory due to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakakodash. I'd like to give double honors unto the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone, who I learned this truth from. And I'd like to say peace and salutations unto the hopefully elect. Till next time I say, Shalom.